Lifts the foul again out of play. And it doesn't get any tighter than that. I mean, the team that loses this game will have to win the next two. Walker again going up after that high fastball. Remember, strike 2 was a fairly high strike.
That could be a lot of confidence gained by this win today. The Atlanta Braves just say, hey, we came into your house, the Astrodome, and we took a game from you. We know we're going back to Atlanta if needed.
Struck him out. So an important man to keep off the base paths, and Springer managed to do so. A reminder, SportsCenter will follow the ball game with Bob Lee, Dave Redson, and Brian Kenny. And SportsCenter will be bringing right back here to the Astrodome for the post-game story. Also a preview of tonight's Game 3 from Shea Stadium, the Diamondbacks and the Mets. For the 2-minute drill, Chris Berman on Week 5 in the NFL. SportsCenter after the game. Craig Biggio, he singled in the first, scored a run. He got the controversial walk in the 7th when they tied the game. The big curveball low and outside. Overall, 1 for 3, but he's been on base twice. And each time that he's reached base, the Astros scored in that inning. And the Biggio chant stars again here at the Astrodome. Chase has got a high fastball. Right field, Jordan. Number 2, so they keep Biggio off the bases. So 2 key men to keep off the base paths in this spot, and Springer has managed to do it. Now Bill Spiers.
Talk about key men. This game would not be tied if it were not for the base hit and the bat of Billy Spiers. He tied it up. Houston's hoping now that he can give him the lead. If nothing else, just get on base for Jeff Bagwell, who's in the on-deck circle. Boy, for Houston to win this game and realize that they won a game in which they faced Tom Glavine and Greg Maddux. How huge would that be?
It's too low to Spiers. And the job for Spiers right now is, however he can do it, keep the inning alive for Jeff Bagwell to have a chance to end it. Bagwell would be next. Check swing, an accidental ground ball. And Walt Weiss throws him out. Bagwell will have to wait until the 10th. 3-3, and we are going overtime from the Astrodome.
I'd like to make an improvement.
The pivotal third game, a series tied at a game apiece, but the third game just will not come to a conclusion. Doug Henry will try and hold the line now in the 10th inning. The veteran right-hander, a one-time closer himself, was brilliant in pitching in the 7th and 8th innings in Game 1.
Really not any surprise that these two teams would pitch well in this ball game. Two of the top 3 teams in the National League in ERA all year long. It's been the key to their success. It's what got them here, and whoever pitches the best is going to be the guy that goes on into the next set of playoffs.
Walt Weiss, the hitter, up for the second time of the game. He entered as a pinch hitter for Glavine in the 7th inning. Stayed in, plays short, and takes ball 1. Stan Javier, he is now in left field. So Spiers leaves the game. Henry put into the 2nd spot of the order, which is due up 9th the next time around. Javier will be due up 3rd in the last half of this inning. 2-0 for Weiss. Gerald Williams and Brett Boone to follow, and if the Braves can get somebody on base, Chipper Jones will bat here in the 10th. 3-3. There's a fastball in there for a strike. You can see Henry at 92 miles an hour. He's got a little pop in that fastball. Jose Cabrera, 2 innings, and if you hadn't heard of him before, you certainly know about it now. 6 strikeouts in 2 innings. The fastball by, and 2-2 to count. The Astros bullpen is busy just in case.
Yeah, but there's somebody missing down there. The kid, Billy Wagner, is not up anymore.
In the air to left center. Barker. And that is one away. In the bullpen, the right-hander, Jay Powell, the left-hander, Trevor Miller. No, Billy Wagner up. He was up in the 9th inning for a brief time when Cabrera was on the hill. Talk about his 6 strikeouts. Let's have a look.
Well, he's pretty much pitched like this since he got to the big leagues with Houston this year. He's a perfect 4-0. And as you mentioned before, only 9 base on balls this year. He's thrown strikes.
Gerald Williams, the hitter, and the hard slider from Henry outside. Well, they got Brent Boone, Chipper Jones, Andruw Jones, and the pinch hitter Lockhart, Perez, and finally Ryan Fresco. I mean, he blew away some real big hitters, some of the biggest the Braves had to offer. Fastball is lofted foul and foul and out of play by Williams, who was 1 for 4 in the game. 3-3 in the 10th inning.
You usually see these relievers coming in with a little extra velocity, a little bit more adrenaline than what they had during the regular season, but the location is something that was so impressive for me with Cabrera. He could climb the ladder, he could throw a strike when he had to.
That's strike 2. Houston pitchers through the first 9 innings today had 15 strikeouts of Braves hitters. 9 by Hampton and then 6 by that man, Jose Cabrera. 15 strikeouts and 1 walk. And that slider tapped slowly. And there's no play. Williams too fast. As Caminetti wisely held on to the ball. Another infield hit. That's the 2nd infield hit for Gerald Williams today. And the 4th infield hit for the Braves. Now, a pinch runner and an outstanding base stealer, Otis Nixon, on to run for Gerald Williams at first base. And of course, everybody in the ballpark knows why he's in there.
Even at his age, Otis Nixon still not only a good base runner, still fast, but he's a smart base runner as well.
Otis had 26 steals this year, caught 7 times. And he is one of the top base stealers of his era. He has had 620 steals in his career. Otis Nixon now at first base. In there, surely, to steal a base. He is 40 years old. Boone the hitter. And Henry steps off the slab after waiting a long, long while. Boone backs away. Boone is 2 for 4 in the game. His second hit as Chipper Jones comes out on deck. Boone's second hit was a 2-out, nobody on single in the 6th. It started the 3-run rally, culminating in the 3-run homer by Jordan. It was in the 6th inning. The only walk allowed by Houston pitchers in this game came after Boone's single in the 6th. Chipper Jones ended up walking, and then Jordan struck. Fastball and strike. It is 0-1. Now, you got a base stealer on there, but you have to be mindful of a tough hitter. Your manager, you might think the pitch out could be good. It's 0-1. It's a pretty easy count to pitch out on. And they do pitch out, but Otis, mindful that that's the ideal pitch out spot, did not run.
You've got to have confidence that your pitcher can throw strikes. If you've got a lot of confidence in that, you might come with back-to-back pitch outs. You know Nixon's going to do everything he can to get to second base. He wouldn't have been brought in. Gerald Williams is a pretty good runner. He's not the base stealer Nixon is, but he's got the same kind of speed.
He's going. Swung on and missed. Eusebio, what hot throw into center field. Nixon digging for third. Here comes a throw by Barker, and it hits him. It hit Nixon. It rolls down the third base line, and Nixon has gotten himself all the way to third. Ned Yost, the third base coach, wearing a microphone. Let's listen in as Nixon was attempting to steal. Fortunately, he was also giving visual signs to Otis Nixon. Now the infield is in. Runner at third, one out. Chipper Jones on deck. 1-2 to Boone. Trying to put him away with a high hard one. Boone got a piece of it.
Last year, the catcher for the Houston Astros was Brad Osmus, one of the best defensive catchers in the game. A guy with a strong, accurate arm. Eusebio had a chance to throw Nixon out right there, but was not a very good throw.
Just did manage to save that slider. Eusebio himself seemed to think that the ball had gotten by him.
Well, the reason he did was because he didn't put a very good effort on himself. You got to get out there in front and block that ball. You can't just throw your glove down there and your bare hand in hopes of keeping it in front of you. You got to have your body in front of that as well.
2-2 to Boone. The changeup for the strikeout. Man, they needed a strikeout there, and he got it. Third time that Boone has struck out today.
Well, he had 112 strikeouts on the year, that being Brett Boone. A pretty good breaking ball right there, off speed, down. Look at that thing moving right there, the splitter, circle change, whatever. It had that tumbling action that split finger or fork ball had.
Well, Henry used to feature that split-fingered pitch quite often. And that may well have been what it was. Now they're going to go ahead and walk Chipper Jones intentionally. Tempting fate, perhaps, because Brian Jordan has been the hot hitter these last 2 days. He has made them pay anytime they've put Chipper Jones on in front of him these last 2 ball games. 5 RBIs in 2 games for Jordan.
Last year, Brian Jordan had a big year for the St. Louis Cardinals. And as you mentioned, Bob Kersey, his trainer, they just completely rebuilt him as a baseball player. He could never understand. He could always stay healthy as a football player. He never missed a game. But he couldn't play in more than 120 baseball games. So they got him to relax. They got him to loosen up. He lost some weight. He learned to run all over again. He even learned to walk different so that he could stay healthy and start producing as he did with that 3-run homer.
Vern Rule out to the mound, the pitching coach. As in this game, Jordan, with that spectacular 3-run homer, 417 feet high up into the bleachers in left center. He had an RBI single and a sacrifice fly for RBIs in the Tuesday game.
You just got to figure, though, that Billy Wagner's elbow is just not 100%, nor will it be until this year's over with. Or else it would be him coming in right now. I don't care if he's a left-hand hitter or right-hand hitter. He's got the best strikeout ratio probably in the history of the game. I know it's just incredible. And he would be the guy coming in to face Jordan if it weren't for that elbow.
Wagner, 39 saves. 124 strikeouts in 74 and 2/3 innings. So it's Henry and Jordan. 2 on, 2 out. Ooh, man, that was awfully close. There's Otis Nixon, who got himself to third as a pinch runner with a steal and the throwing error by Eusebio. Chipper Jones, who can steal a base over at first base. Henry retired Jordan in Tuesday's game. Now it is 2-0. And he still has a base to play with, and he doesn't have to give in to Doug Henry. Second base is still open. Andruw Jones on deck. And we've got a huge pitch to make right here. 2 balls and no strikes to Brian Jordan. There's that double fake to third and then the look at first. Jordan, 1 hit in 7 career at-bats against Henry, including the game on Tuesday. 3-3, 10th inning, 2 down. 3-0. Andruw Jones on deck. By the way, we saw Billy Wagner standing down in that bullpen, but he's not throwing. He's just helping protect the bullpen catchers out there. And Jordan gets a 4-pitch walk to load the bases. Chipper Jones to second. Jordan to first. Andruw Jones up with the bases loaded. Jay Powell, the right-hander. Miller, the left-hander. There's Billy Wagner standing and watching. Larry Dierker. The Astros really cannot in any way afford to lose this game. Atlanta with Smoltz tomorrow, either Maddox or Millwood on Sunday if they can get there. Andruw Jones 1 for 4 today. 3 men on, 2 men out. Starts him with a slider, misses with it.
That first pitch so important. You get ahead in the count, home plate will start to grow for you a little bit. You fall behind as Henry did there, it starts to shrink.
Fastball strike on the outside. 1 ball, 1 strike. John Smoltz, tomorrow's starting pitcher, alongside Greg Maddox. Shane Reynolds, who will make his second start of this series tomorrow. Andruw Jones with the bases loaded and 2 down. A 3-3 tie. Fastball popped up foul and back out of play. They continue to get fastballs by him here. Cabrera struck him out with fastballs in the 8th inning. 1 ball and 2 strikes, and again this crowd of 48,625 on its feet. Rakes it into left, right to Javier. The side is retired. The Braves lead 3. Remember, they had a man at third and 1 out. They could not get him home. Now, Jeff Bagwell, Ken Caminetti, and Stan Javier coming up. 3-3, last of the 10th.
One tough crowd, the fans of the St. Paul Saints, to test the new Norelco Quadra Action Razor.
The Astrodome is rocking. Nearly 50,000 here, and everybody standing as Jeff Bagwell, their 42 home run man, stands in against Russ Springer. 3 infielders play to the left side of second. High and tight. Now Springer has given up 2 home runs in 4 previous at-bats from Bagwell against him. Fastball at the knees for a strike. Bagwell has walked twice against him and retired twice and hit 2 homers against him. There's Otis Nixon now in left field after he came on as a runner for Gerald Williams. 1-1 to Bagwell. And it is 2-1. Now you can pitch around Bagwell, risk putting him out. But Ken Caminetti has hit 2 home runs in this series already, and who would bat left-handed is on deck.
And you can't do that if you're Springer. He's real slow to home plate, and as you mentioned earlier, Bagwell with 30 stolen bases, he'd be off and running.
Oh man, he went up after it. A shoulder-high fastball. That one hit a speaker and almost caught by Chipper Jones. That was headed about 50 rows back into the seats, and it hit one of those infamous Astrodome speakers, and Chipper Jones, to his credit, had gone over and almost caught it.
I totally agree with you. This ball hit him in the glove, but you cannot give him a net. This ball should have ended up well into foul territory. That's the same kind of play where there was a pop-up in Atlanta, and Greg Maddox dove for it, ended up actually breaking a bone in his pitching hand that bounced off of Chipper's glove.
High in the air off to the right side. Look out for the speakers. Klesko comes over just in case, and you see that one about 12 rows back into the seats. I think the first one he hit was going to be way back into the seats, but it hit a speaker. The speakers are in play. It's as if the wind caught it and blew it back. 2-2 to Bagwell. He is trying to deliver here. Low and outside, 3-2. Bagwell has yet to hit one in the postseason. Today he's 0 for 1, 2 walks and hit by a pitch. He is walked again. That is the 6th walk allowed by Braves pitching in this game. And it brings Caminiti up with Javier behind him and Everett after him.
Bagwell 2 for 4 off Springer with 2 home runs. Believe me, nobody knew that better than Russ Springer himself.
And once again, the Atlanta bullpen will spring into action. Caminiti 2 hits today, but also a ground ball double play and a strikeout with the bases loaded. Base hit. Bagwell will stop at second. Jordan, who's got a real strong arm. And now Javier, an outstanding bunter, coming up. Javier, acquired from the San Francisco Giants because of the long list of injuries to outfielders. And he was a very important player in the stretch run. He hit .328 as an Astro. .285 overall this year. Bagwell at second. Caminiti at first. Javier squares. There's the bunt, but it rolls foul. Sports Center will follow, and they will bring you right back here for the post-game scene with interviews and all the stories behind the scenes as to what happened here today. And I'm sure part of that will be, where was Billy Wagner? How is he? Is he okay? Derek Bell rooting on his teammates. Up and away, and bluffing us for the second with Walt Weiss covering the bag. Eddie Perez.
This is where it's so nice for Houston to have a first baseman that has some speed. If that's a big, slow first baseman out there at second base, you probably wouldn't be sacrificing. It'd take a perfect bunt to get him to third, but Bagwell can run.
1-1 to Javier. He squares around. The curveball, but he got it down. Nice ball. Nobody fields it. Everybody's safe. The bases are loaded.
It's the Houston Astros that have the 2 errors today. Atlanta doesn't have any. But it was a mistake on the part of Brett Boone in the first when he couldn't come up with the ball cleanly to turn the double play. That led to 2 runs in the first inning. This right here, a mental mistake on the part of the pitcher, Springer. That's his play all the way. He looked at Klesko. He's got to come up with it, make the throw. He doesn't do that. And because of it, Atlanta in trouble again.
Now John Rocker, the hard-throwing lefter who is a great strikeout pitcher, he is coming on to face Carl Everett. Bases loaded, nobody out. And as Rocker comes in to warm up, let's go to Sports Center for this update.
Gentlemen, thanks. Dave Revson along with Bob Lee in the Sports Center studios. We'll get you back out for the dramatic finish in just a moment. But first, huge news out of Shea Stadium.
That's right. Mike Piazza will not be in the starting lineup for the New York Mets. 3 weeks ago, he injured his left thumb, re-injured it in Game 2 the other evening against the Diamondbacks, took a cortisone shot and had a bad reaction to it. Piazza will sit tonight.
You can't feel anything. I can't grip a bat or pull my glove on. It's very disappointing. But you know, I have the utmost confidence in this ball club, and you know, they've obviously. It's not just because I like to think I'm a big reason why we're here, but it's not. I'm not the only reason why we're here. So I just hope that you know, and I know these guys are gonna be okay.
Todd Pratt starts at catcher tonight.
Well, let's take it back to Houston now. Bases loaded for the Astros. Nobody out. Should be a great finish. Let's go back to John Miller.
Thanks, Dave and Bob. And bad news for the Mets, indeed. The ball game coming up a little bit later. Here, the bases are loaded, and it is starting to get later for the Atlanta Braves unless John Rocker, who is an outstanding strikeout pitcher, can get at least one big one right here. He had 104 strikeouts in 72 in the third innings, but he never needed one more than he needs it right now.
It's been a big year for John Rocker as the closer for the Atlanta Braves with all the trouble they had. They had Kerry Lightenberg was supposed to be there. He was out for the year. Mark Wohlers tried to make a comeback. That didn't work. Rocker inherited the job. He also inherited 3 runners on base right now and no place to put Carl Everett.
This is a spot with nobody out. The winning run at third, the outfield as well as the infield having to draw in. The outfielders need to be in a spot where they can still catch the ball with some forward action and be able to keep a runner from scoring. The infielders also in all the way around. Everybody's in. Everett does not want to hit a ball on the ground, obviously. Everett 1 for 5 with 3 strikeouts versus Rocker. Rocker filled a big hole. The Braves lost their closer, Kerry Lightenberg, to surgery before the season ever started. That was their big question coming in. Who was going to do all the bullpenning for them? Well, Rocker was one of the solutions. Oh, man. 97 miles an hour. The high fastball, and he couldn't get it. Everett today has walked, hit an infield single, and twice has struck out. The strikeout, that's what Rocker needs today, in a day filled with strikeouts. Up and away. 1 ball, 1 strike. Jeff Bagwell started the inning with a walk. Then Caminetti promptly singled into second through the open hole on the right side. And then Javier, trying to sacrifice, beat out the bunt. Ooh, down and in. And you got to be ever so mindful of the wild pitch. Rocker will throw a slider. 2-1 the count, but it's a high-risk pitch in this spot. The Astros have never won a postseason series in their history. A chance here to go ahead 2-1. That's a high foul off the right field line. Back in amongst the spectators. 2-2. All right, partner, you've been there before. Do we see something besides fastball here?
You've got to go with your strength right now. Whatever John Rocker feels like his best pitch is what you're going to see now. He's not thrown a breaking ball yet in this at bat. He's got a good hard slider. He's got a better fastball.
There's the slider. Bagwell breaks home. Presto, got him. So Carl Everett just trying to make some kind of contact against a real tough-looking pitch. And then Klesko with a pretty nice play. Caminetti to third. Javier to second. Everett safe at first. And remember, back in the 7th inning, after they had tied the game, they had the bases loaded and 1 out. And Caminetti up. Niesky behind him, and they could not push home another run.
All year long, you've heard people talk about the New York Mets bullpen. Well, the Atlanta Braves say that in the last couple of weeks of the season, in those big series they had, the Braves bullpen actually outpitched the New York Mets bullpen. You might not know a lot of their names, but it looks like you're going to find out who they are before too long.
Now Eusebio. The outfield is real shallow all the way around for Eusebio. He has walked with the bases loaded once already today. That was in the 1st inning. He has struck out, flied out, and grounded out. Caminetti now the runner at third base, but they're trying to get home. 0-1. The Braves have almost run through their bullpen in this one. Rocker, their 6th pitcher of the day. They've used everybody out of the bullpen except Kevin McGlinchey. They've used someone not out of the bullpen, Greg Maddux. Slider. He's going to have to hurry. He got him. What a play by Walt Weiss. Weiss has saved the game, at least for the moment. That's why Weiss was in there.
Ball game's over right now without Walt Weiss in there defensively. I was a little bit surprised. Right before that pitch, I was wondering why the infield was not back. If they were back, they would have had a little bit more range. You get a ground ball, you got a slow running catcher, you might turn the double play and end it. Bobby Cox decided to go in with it. Walt Weiss in perfect position. Look at him playing more so up the middle. If he's over one more step to his right, this ball game's over with. He knew where he wanted to play. He saw the pitch Rocker was coming with. He got up. That's a tough throw right there. You can't possibly put more pressure on that throw than what was on it.
Jubilation from the Braves dugout. Walt Weiss has risen to the occasion to save the game, at least for the moment.
And so has John Rocker. You got the infield in. You got to get something on the ground, and he's done that.
Gutierrez, the hitter. Strike one call. Gutierrez is 0 for 4. He's hit 1 ball to the outfield, a line drive to right to end the first. Struck out and twice grounded out since then. 3-3 last of the 10th. 3 men on, 2 men down. And quickly, Rocker is ahead of Gutierrez, 0-2. There's Javier now. A possible winning run at third base. The Braves had a runner at third and 1 out in the first half of this inning and could not get him home. The Astros had the bases loaded and nobody out in the last of the 10th inning. Now they are loaded with 2 down and 2 strikes to Gutierrez. One ball, 2 strikes, staying with a fastball to Gutierrez. And Caminetti stumbled over the foot of Eddie Perez as he came home and flipped a somersault after that, which the Astros hate to see that ever happen to Caminetti. He was so prone to injury. Rocker trying to get the Braves to the 11th inning. 1 ball, 2 strikes. The slider. That was close. Gutierrez was frozen. It was just a question of what the call was. The rally cap is not worked just yet here in the 10th inning for Jose Lima. The Atlanta Braves in the unfamiliar position here in a division series, having to battle. The slider in the dirt for the strikeout. And John Rocker lets loose with the emotion. There were 3 men on with nobody out when he came on, and he retired 3 in a row with considerable help from that man, Walt Weiss. Now to the 11th inning. And the Astrodome shocked again. The hometown team could not get 1 run home. Out of all of that, 3 men left.
Get up, get down. Hang tight, hang loose.
It's been said that moderation is the key to happiness. We don't know who said it, but we know it wasn't someone from Australia.
Outback Steakhouse, no rules, just right.
Outback Steakhouse. No rules, just right.
Now, only at Seminole Suzuki, the all-new 99 Suzuki Grand Vitara V6 Mini SUV. Test drive today and see for yourself why the all-new sensational Suzuki Grand Vitara V6 is the SUV for you. Seminole Suzuki's Grand Vitara V6 is abundant with standard features, and the best part is its low price. $15,495. Seminole Suzuki's Grand Vitara V6 leads the class in value and comfort. Remember, only at Seminole Suzuki, 3122 West Tennessee, the Suzuki Grand Vitara V6.
As the city sleeps,
Saving someone's life is like falling in love. But I hadn't saved anyone in months.
the nightmare begins.
You swore that you'd fire me if I came in late again. Nobody gets fired, son. Look at me.
And one man fights to keep hope alive.
You're not gonna die. Rise up!
A Martin Scorsese picture.
Damn, you guys are good.
Nicolas Cage.
Are you okay?
Bringing out the dead.
Never felt better in my life.
Rated R. Everywhere, Friday, October 22nd.
Braves 3, Astros 3. John Rocker putting his batting gloves on. He is scheduled to lead off here in the 11th inning, which nobody in this ballpark thought would ever happen. What 11th inning? What are you talking about? 3 men on, nobody out when Rocker came on. Finally, the spectacular play by Walt Weiss. At this moment, a game-saving play, and who knows, they may look back and say, that one saved the season. Then finally, with 2 down, the slider in the dirt, the strikeout Gutierrez, and then the emotion allowed to be let loose by Rocker. And then he and Randall Simon with the chest bump.
He's got a right to be emotional about that job he just did, but first thing he needs to do is go over and shake the hand of Walt Weiss. That ball was by Walt Weiss. He reached behind him and pulled it into his glove, got up, and somehow made a good throw to home plate.
Doug Henry, who got through all kinds of trouble in the 10th inning himself. With the 1-out single by Gerald Williams, Otis Nixon came in to run. Promptly stole second, went to third on a wild throw, but was stranded there, although 2 subsequent walks loaded the bases for Andruw Jones, and he lined out to the left fielder. Now, having seen each team leave the bases loaded in the 10th inning, we start the 11th. 2-0 the count to John Rocker. Rocker, who was the closer, and he came in to wrap up a game that the Braves led. He has not had an at-bat this year, but it is 3-0, and the Astros bullpen will get busy. Now 3-1. I mean, walking this guy to start the 11th inning is inviting all kinds of trouble. Eddie Perez due up next, and he has walked it. A leadoff walk of the pitcher. I mean, first off, you're saying, wow, Braves are going to let the pitcher bat leading off the inning.
They really don't have much choice. They're starting to run out of people. They've only got a couple of extra catchers left to pinch hit with. They've got Battle down there they could pinch hit with, but
Perez drops the bunt down. Bagwell wants to go to second. He does. In time. Back to first. In time. And Perez gets into it with Dana DeMuth. He's got the bad knees, as you pointed out, Rick. What a play by Jeff Bagwell to get the lead runner.
Well, you thought Bagwell was going to end the game when he got on base in the bottom of the 10th inning with the walk. He got the third with nobody out. He couldn't end it that way, but look at this play right here. Look at him right on top of Perez. He knows it's a pitcher at first base. He knows he's got to take a chance at getting that run. He doesn't. Perez, you can't blame him for that. He got down a good bunt. He hustled the best he could down there. He's going to have surgery the day after the season ends on his left knee. He's got tendonitis in both knees, and yet he's just gutting it out to try to get through these playoffs for the Atlanta Braves.
And he went in there with that slide, which may have actually slowed him down still further at first base. Vern Rule out to have a quick word with Doug Henry. 2 down, nobody on, and the dangerous Ryan Fresco up. And Jeff Bagwell, talk about guys rising to the occasion, because it could have been all too easy for him just to say, I got the short out at first, I'm going for it. He had to hurry with that throw to second. A lot of things could have gone wrong once he decided to go to second in such a hurry, but he did it fluidly and flawlessly.
How about what he said in the Houston paper today, too? Am I frustrated? I'm not frustrated. Having a bad playoff series, that's nothing new to me. You know, I'll go out, I'll play hard, and hopefully things will turn around. No excuses.
There's the slider down around his ankles, and quickly Henry is ahead of Klesko. No balls, 2 strikes. Henry retired Klesko on a foul ball to the catcher in the 8th inning of the game on Tuesday. The NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series will move to ESPN2 at 8 o'clock. Up and away with a fastball. 1-2 to Klesko. Klesko is one of those guys who could lose one into the seats just like that. Henry has to be ever so careful with the powerful Ryan Klesko. Walt Weiss would be next. 2 down, nobody on. 11th inning. The Astrodome has been the house of thrills here today. Backing out of play. This is the first time they've had an extra inning postseason game at the Astrodome since the famous 16-inning game between the Mets and the Astros in October of 1986. That was the 6th game, which the Mets eventually won 3-2. 1-2 to Klesko. And that one was a dangerous looking pitch.
Klesko was right on top of that fastball away. And you would think Henry would see that. Eusebio certainly sees it. Guy starts to cheat on your heater. He's catching up with it. Just throw a breaking ball down.
Klesko might have gotten his pitch to hit right there. There's the slider down in the dirt. He strikes him out. Eusebio to Bagwell. Doug Henry has risen to the top of the Astros bullpen, pitching the big innings in this one. Last of the 11th. We'll be back. Today, 5 bats against Rocker. That one hit, a home run. Bogar at first. Ooh, man.
My goodness. You can just look into the eyes of Jeff Bagwell and tell the intensity that he plays every day with. He played in 162 games this year. Look at the intensity in those eyes right there.
Well, that's a ball. I mean, Bagwell did not miss that one by very much.
You know, some guys just want to make a difference. Bagwell's one of those guys. He's not scared to take a chance.
The slider. A foul ball, and quickly Rocker has him in a hole. No balls and 2 strikes.
He proved that in the top of this inning on that bunt. You see a lot of first basemen come in there, and just to protect themselves, they act like they can't get it out of their glove. They don't take a chance on that quick throw to second base. Bagwell wanted to make a difference. He knew it was important. He came in, he made the perfect throw, and because of it, 2 outs and nobody on.
Well, you said Bobby Cox is throwing everything out there to win this ball game. Greg Maddux included, who worked in relief. Well, the man on the right you may recognize. He pitched a one-hitter 2 days ago. That's Kevin Millwood, who has joined Kevin McGlinchey in the bullpen. This would be Millwood's day to throw after a start. Anyway,
he's already got his throwing in, I'm sure.
I don't know.
Going to get a little bit more in. No, I'm sure he threw before the ball game this afternoon. You know, one thing, too, I haven't kept track, but McGlinchey has been up several times.
And McGlinchey has thrown a half a game already out there, just warming up. But Kevin Millwood is also up.
He was up in the first inning when Glavine was struggling a little bit. That's quite a while ago.
McGlinchey was up. In the dirt on that throw to first. Wow. As John Rocker suddenly, Rocker and the Braves suddenly seeming concerned about Tim Bogar over there. 1 ball, 2 strikes to the 42 home run man, Jeff Bagwell. High pop-up, shallow right. Brian Jordan. And we continue onward. 11 full innings. It is 3-3. Walt Weiss, Otis Nixon, Brett Boone, Chipper Jones would be due 4th in the 12th.
Your fan.
But as you see, the Diamondbacks and Mets game has begun at Shea Stadium. Rick Reed on the mound for the Mets tonight. That series tied at a game apiece. Here we're in the 12th inning. Looked like a split-fingered pitch. Did he swing? Yes. Third base umpire Paul Schreiber making the call on the appeal. 0-2 to Weiss. Weiss is 3 for 3 lifetime against Powell, including a single, a double, and a triple against him. Otis Nixon on deck. Bobby Cox giving Schreiber an earful from the Atlanta dugout. Too low. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Jose Cabrera went 2 shutout innings, 8th and 9th inning. 8th and 9th innings in relief of Hampton. And Henry, the 10th and 11th innings. 10th and 11th innings without allowing a run. Fastball inside. 2 balls, 2 strikes. The Astros bullpen busy, and so is the Braves bullpen. We showed you that McGlinchey was up yet again, and also Kevin Millwood, amazingly, had gotten up, and they're both still up out there. Along the left field line, into that bullpen area, just past Millwood. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Pitch for the Atlanta Braves in the postseason. Pitch every other day in the postseason, maybe. Well, the Braves had always waltzed through these first-round division series games. Their record in these first-round playoff games before this year was 12-1. They had never lost a first game, or for that matter a second game, in one of these best-of-5 series. He struck it out. The Braves are playing for survival. At least that's the way Bobby Cox is playing it. Pivotal game, and they stayed alive on this play by Walt Weiss in the 10th inning with the bases loaded. 1 out. What a play it was. And in the 11th inning, Jeff Bagwell, he made a spectacular play in the bunt. Double play. So each team has risen to the occasion defensively when it was needed the most. That play by Bagwell came after a leadoff walk to John Rocker, no less, the pitcher, which looked like a disaster in the making. Bagwell made it all better.
How about the finish of that double play, too? Craig Biggio doing the splits to reach out and try to complete that double play in time.
Biggio, the second baseman, covering after that bunt to complete the double play. Otis Nixon, 1 ball, 1 strike. Nixon had gotten himself to third base with 1 out in the 10th inning, stealing a base, going to third on the throwing error. He was there with 1 out, but they could not get him home. 1-2 the count. Otis did not hit at all this year. And in his worst year with the bat, he hit .205. And as a left-handed hitter, hit only .194. The Houston bullpen also busy. Behind that man, Jay Powell. Base hit to left field. Well, Powell made a horrible pitch there on 1-2. So Nixon is aboard.
Well, you just get a guy to spin like a top on an off-speed pitch down in the dirt. Why in the world would you elevate it and give him a chance to put it in play, in particular when it's a guy like this? Look at that pitch up in his eyes right there. You've got your catcher down in the dirt. He's wanting the ball down there. You get a little bit excited with 2 strikes. The crowd gets a little bit louder. You overthrow, and you make mistakes.
And Nixon is at first, and as you know, he is not liable to stay there very long. He's easily back. He came into this game in a base stealing situation. In the 10th, he was a pinch runner for Gerald Williams, who had singled. You notice, with everybody in the ballpark knowing that he was about to steal, stole, and Eusebio's throw skipped into center, and Otis ended up at third, just ahead of Barker's throw. Base hit. Nixon will stop at second. Everett up throwing. So Brett Boone gets his 3rd hit of the game, and now Chipper Jones with a chance to turn this one around for Atlanta.
Well, if you don't hang that off-speed pitch to Nixon and you get him out, Jeff Bagwell is playing deep and in his regular first base position. That's a ground ball to him. You're out of the inning, and you don't have to face Chipper Jones here in the top of the 12th.
And Jay Powell, who was a setup man, often used in the 8th innings of games in front of Billy Wagner when the Astros had a lead to protect. But nonetheless, the last few times he was used in the regular season, he went into a slump. Hence, Durker's choice of Doug Henry in those crucial 7th and 8th innings in Game 1 on Tuesday. And now Powell in this huge game, trying to get out of a huge jam. The Braves have just the man they want up there in a spot like this. Ball 1, Chipper Jones. He is the 45 home run man, and he has 3 hits in 6 career at-bats against Jay Powell, including a home run. Both the right-hander, Trevor Miller, the left-hander, up in the bullpen for Houston. Nixon at second, Boone at first, only 1 out. 2-0, not even close. Jones in this game 1 for 3 with 2 walks and a run scored. His 1 hit was an infield single to shortstop in the 4th inning. Now, Vern Rule, the pitching coach, heads out to the mound to talk to Jay Powell, who is struggling.
Chipper might need extra batting practice before tomorrow's game just to see what a strike looks like. It's been a while since anybody challenged him. And the last time that happened was the New York Mets series.
All of baseball. Watch those highlights on SportsCenter. And I think that it was unanimous. Don't pitch to Chipper Jones,
left or right-handed,
if you can help it. 4 homers in 3 games against the Mets in that series a couple of weeks ago. All of them put the Braves ahead. Gutierrez trying to keep Otis Nixon close at second. Good low sinker. Chipper Jones chased it, 2-1.
Rule might have gone out there to remind Jay Powell, yeah, Chipper Jones led the Atlanta Braves offense in a lot of categories, but don't forget, one of those, he grounded into 20 double plays.
Rule back in the dugout. 2-1 the count. Slow chop. Not hard enough to get 2. If they get Chipper Jones, Caminetti throws him out. The runners advance. Nixon to third. Boone to second. And now Brian Jordan, who has driven in all of the Braves' runs today with his monumental 3-run homer back in the 6th inning when they were trailing 2-0 at that time. First base is open. He has singled and walked since the home run.
Larry Durker, as a rule, normally doesn't believe in the intentional base on balls a whole lot. He's got a lot of confidence in his pitchers. He's got a veteran ball club. They know the base is open. Be careful. You don't have to give in when you fall behind.
He has driven in 5 runs in the last 2 games of this series. Jordan stands in. Too low. Now Jordan has a history of making trouble for Powell. He has 5 hits in 12 lifetime at-bats against Powell. A .417 average against him. But at least with first base open, he has a little room to maneuver here against Brian Jordan. That is called a strike at the knees. 1 ball, 1 strike.
You know what? Brian Jordan knows that too, and what he'll look for is something off speed out of the strike zone. He might have got caught guessing a little bit there, not looking for a fastball that he could hit. But with that injury, he's a better hitter with an off-speed pitch than he is that fastball. He just can't get around on it as quick.
And the fastball back to the screen. When he hit the 3-run homer, it was it looked like a hanging slider from Mike Hampton.
What has made him an RBI producer is the fact that he has gone to the opposite field more so. He'll hit the fastball to right field, and if you hang a breaking ball, he can pull it and still keep it fair.
He had 115 RBIs during the regular season. Runners at second and third, 2 down. Base hit. And the Braves have gone ahead. Nixon scores. Boone right behind him. And Brian Jordan has become the man for the Braves. He has driven in all 5 runs today. 7 RBIs in the last 2 games.
You got to go back to Otis Nixon. You hang an off-speed pitch to him. You bring Chipper up. You bring up Brian Jordan. You had Jordan right where you wanted. All you had to do was make a pitch. Throw that fastball in where he can't get around on it. Instead, he went with the fastball away. Jordan just went that other way, as he has done the last couple of years. And as you said, has all the RBIs for Atlanta.
And now they're going to walk Andruw Jones intentionally with the pitcher due up next. It is 5-3, Atlanta ahead in the 12th inning. Arizona did not score in the first inning at Shea Stadium. Meanwhile, Mets coming up there against Omar Dahl in a scoreless game. Well, you mentioned it. Larry Dierker does not like to walk people intentionally, but I think that's just poor pitching by Jay Powell. He had room to maneuver. He never had to give in to him. First base was open. There's no way he ever should have gotten a pitch even close to being hittable like that. Well, now the intentional walk has been given. The Braves, by the way, Bobby Cox ordered 55 intentional walks this year, just by comparison, backing up what you're saying. Larry Dierker ordered 17 intentional walks. OZZIE Guillen, the hitter. Remember 1985 in the League Championship Series, Tom Lasorda decided not to walk Jack Clark intentionally. The time Niedenfuhr on the mound, but he ordered Niedenfuhr not to throw him a strike. Niedenfuhr did, and Jack Clark launched a 3-run homer, and that proved to be the game winner. The Cardinals won that series on that home run and went to the World Series. 1 ball and no strikes now to OZZIE Guillen, the pinch hitter for John Rocker. Drifting back in left field, Javier, and that is the inning. But the big crowd here in Houston, which has spent so much emotion now, is very, very quiet. The Atlanta Braves are leading 5-3. Last chance for Houston.
It's taken 100 years and over 15,000 players to assemble the most exclusive team in history, the Major League Baseball All-Century Team. Now you can order the commemorative video and book by calling 1-888-CENTURY. Both honor the game's greatest players through unforgettable images and stories, exclusive interviews, and vintage footage. Order the book and video for only $44.95 plus shipping by calling 1-888-CENTURY. This message furnished by Major League Baseball.
They come to us for many reasons. Because we save them money on what they need with their everyday low price. Because we help them solve their problems and get them back on the road. And because we stand behind the parts we sell with a warranty that's good at more.
Do nothing. Stop nothing.
Atlanta 5, the Astros 3 in this big game, the turnaround game in this series. It's the 12th inning. That's Jay Powell in the Astros dugout. And the picture says it all. And we all have moments in life that we'd like to have back. Now remember, after the ball game here on ESPN, the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series will be moved back from ESPN to over here. So stay tuned for that right here on ESPN. And Kevin Millwood will pitch one of the great games ever seen in a postseason playoff game 2 days ago. The first complete game one-hitter in any postseason game, World Series, playoffs, or otherwise. In 32 years, Jim Lonborg was the last one to do it. And now he's back 2 days later. He threw 105 pitches in that game, and here he is trying to get a save. Caminetti takes ball 1. Caminetti, who had the only hit against him on Wednesday, a home run. Caminetti is 3 for 5 in this game. Stan Javier and Carl Everett will follow, so they got 3 very good hitters coming up here. 5-3 Atlanta. Too high, and Rick, Kevin Millwood, the question is, how much does he have left to offer today?
Well, you know, one thing about the Atlanta Braves, when I looked at the velocity, 95 and 93 miles an hour, obviously his arm's not hurting him any, but when you think about that starting staff, they talk about going to the post and how much pride they take in going out there every 5th day as a starter, where you're seeing a little bit more of that pride. Maddox volunteering to come out of the pen. Millwood doing the same thing. These guys don't care what it takes. They'll sacrifice their personal numbers just for the team, and that's what Millwood's doing here.
Well, he has got plenty of steam on that fastball. Again, Caminetti cannot catch up to it. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
This is actually the first year in Millwood's professional career that he has not had a relief appearance.
A soaring pop-up. Foul ground. Chipper Jones. One away. So Caminetti is gone, and now Stan Javier trying to get on base for Carl Everett. 5-3 Atlanta. Well, for the loser of this game, whichever side, it was going to be a devastating loss. But for the Astros, in particular, having to come back tomorrow in a game where they had the game ready to be won. 3 men on, nobody out in the 10th inning, and they could not get that 1-run home. And it's a short turnaround tomorrow. Tomorrow's game is at noon Houston time. And having to regroup from a devastating loss, if in fact that's the way it turns out. The slider too high to Javier. 1 ball, 1 strike. In that 16-inning classic in the 86 League Championship Series of the Mets, there were so many twists and turns in that game in the extra innings. And again, Brett Boone gets it. But they've been hitting line drives right at Boone all day. 2 down, and Javier can't hit a ball harder than that.
Back in 1996, when he pitched for Durham, Kevin Millwood had his last save. That's the 3rd of his professional career. He did have 2 relief appearances last year for Atlanta when he was a 17-game winner. How about that? John Rocker going for the win, Millwood the save.
Too low to Carl Everett. Now, if Everett could get on base, Eusebio due up next, but they have Darrell Ward still available off their bench. Well, they've taken a couple of wild swings in this inning. An inning where what they need is somebody to get on base. There's Darrell Ward. So if Everett can get on, Ward could take a shot to tie him. When he went back up there again, 1 ball or 2 balls, 1 strike. Jay Powell, just 2 years ago, he was the winner in Game 7 of the World Series for the Florida Marlins. Such is the fickle aspect of being a hero in this game. Well, I think he just swung a ball 4 right there. They need him to get on base. 3-2 the count to Everett.
I was surprised the take wasn't on right there. You only got 1 hit off of him in 9 innings.
And that's it. Kevin Millwood, the 1-hit complete game victory in Game 2 to even the series, and then a perfect 12th inning and a save to wrap it up for the Braves in this emotional 12-inning Game 3, and the Atlanta Braves have turned this series around, with John Smoltz set to go tomorrow to try and wrap up this division series. For the Astros, a bitter defeat, and you wonder how much they'll have left, because they gave it everything they had and maybe then some here today.
They've got to be devastated. But how about Brian Jordan? There's a lot of guys with the injury that he has had to his right wrist simply would have shut it down. They might have even had season-ending surgery on it. He says, no, I want to play. That's what I came to Atlanta for, to be a part of the postseason. He's a big part of it right now.
Brian Jordan, a 2-out, 3-run homer in the 6th inning, and then the 2-out, 2-run double in the 12th inning. He drove in all 5 of their runs, but there were many other heroes. I mean, John Rocker getting out of that bases loaded, nobody out jam, coming in from the bullpen in the 10th inning, and Walt Weiss making the amazing defensive play to make that happen. And for the Astros, it's going to be a tough night to sleep. Tomorrow, John Smoltz, and Smoltz said maybe the most perfect game he has ever pitched was that third game clinching game in 1997 in this ballpark that beat the Astros and let the Braves move on up against Shane Reynolds. And Shane Reynolds, again, for the third consecutive time, Rick, in 8 days, will be pitching on short rest.
Yeah, and the problem along with that for Houston is finding some way to score some runs. John Smoltz has been able to take his game up to that next level when it's come to the postseason. He'll be expected to do that again tomorrow.
That's 1 o'clock tomorrow.